Hello, welcome back to Statman Dave Clips. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how Antonio Conte will set up Spurs. This video is brought to you in partnership with SofaScore. If you want to check out SofaScore, there's a link in the description below. But anyway, let's dive in. Obviously, that's the breaking news today. Nuno Espirito Santo no longer Tottenham Hotspur manager after a really poor display against Manchester United. From a stats perspective, Spurs have been on a bit of a poor run this season. They started well. Nuno Espirito Santo won Manager of the Month in the opening month of the Premier League, but it's not really looked good since then. Only Norwich and Newcastle United have got a worse goal difference than Spurs. Big job. And of course, the man that could be set to take over as Tottenham Hotspur manager, which would be big for Tottenham, Antonio Conte. Is ready to accept the Tottenham proposal. Talks are underway and understood to be at the final stages. Salary and a long-term contract discussed, but it seems he seems convinced to say yes. Negotiations to continue in the next few hours in order to complete the deal. So guys, what are we going to do? We're going to have a look at how Conte would set up Spurs. I think one of the big things and one of the failings of Nuno Espirito Santo was not going to a back three with Tottenham Hotspur. Considering what Paratici wants and had built his squads previously around, back threes have been throughout his time as a DOF at Juventus, and it seems it's going that way at Spurs as well. When you consider one of the big signings this summer was Cristian Romano from Atalanta, a player that excels in a back three, a player that likes that freedom to go and attack the ball, that likes that freedom to step up and win the ball back in that kind of defensive midfield area. And that's a big thing when you're playing in a back four versus a back three. You can afford to do that in a back three. You can't really afford to do that in the back four. Getting pulled out of position and not having fullbacks that are comfortable at defending those central areas is always going to cause you problems. But of course, Antonio Conte at Tottenham Hotspur is likely to set them up in a 3-5-2. Conte is a very pragmatic manager that's very intense. I think that's one of the big things of his side. Very pressing all over the pitch, and they will go man-to-man. They will squeeze you high up the pitch, and they will throw bodies forward to win that ball back. In terms of Conte, a number of systems that he's obviously played during his career as a manager. He started with a kind of a 4-2-4. He's played a 3-5-2. He likes a 3-4-3 as well. Of course, simple interchange. We saw that with Chelsea, with the likes of Eden Hazard being a real free creator on the left-hand side, that maybe Heung-min Son could take that role. But I do believe it will be 3-5-2 for Conte. In terms of roles in his team, Conte likes to have a regista that sits in front of the back three, that can play make, that can, look to hit the switches of play out wide, that can look to go direct into the strikers and balls into the channels. Think the likes of Brozovic at Internazionale in their Serie A winning team, or the big example, Andre Pirlo for Juventus. And I think that's the side of Antonio Conte's side. He's always going to have three, very aggressive defenders that are very comfortable in possession, which Romero, Sanchez and Dyer will be. Two attacking wing-backs. Reguilon, Emerson, a super profile for that role. I think Emerson, whenever I've seen him previously with Real Betis, looks so much more comfortable as a wing-back than as a full-back. Then that midfield three, obviously, what Conte likes in there, he likes to throw ball winners into central midfield, if he's playing a top side, or he wants to win the ball back aggressively, and also a Mazzala. Giovanni Lo Celso could be perfect for that role, but I think with Spurs and what they've got in in their team and the players that could come and fulfill different roles, Ndombele maybe could be that ball-playing regista at the base of midfield. We've seen him do it for Lyon next to Aouar to great effect in a double pivot. Could he be a single pivot? Not too sure there. But Ndombele could easily be used as kind of the energy, the box-to-box midfielder that he is, with a Giovanni Lo Celso, maybe against a weaker opponent when Spurs want to throw an extra attacker in there. I think looking at other players as well, Dele Alli could very, very easily fit in there and be that Mazzala, but the attitude needs to be on point, and that's a big thing we've seen previously with Dele Alli under certain managers, that it hasn't quite worked. Nuno Espirito Santo and Jose Mourinho feels a little bit like Dele Alli's attitude may need to change, but Conte won't allow it to be poor. But the big thing with Dele Alli, you look at his numbers under Pochettino, very, very impressive in terms of distance covered, very impressive in terms of the goals and the assists that he got. And in Conte's system and the role that he could be given, it could allow him to start box to box, but very much play Mazzala, a goal-scoring Mazzala, getting into that attacking third and joining the likes of Son and Kane. And I think that's the biggest thing for Spurs. You know, when you look at Lukaku and Martinez and how well they played under Conte, Lukaku averaged 0.9 goals or assists per 90 under Conte last season, his best return in Europe's top 5 leagues to date. But also, when you're looking at that, Martinez averaged 0.74 goals or assists per 90, and that was his best return of his career as well. And Lukaku to Martinez was the highest assister to goal scorer combo in the league, and first amongst the two centre forwards. And I think that's a big thing that we've seen with Harry Kane, is his ability to find Heung-min Son. Obviously, as a relationship, only Lampard and Drogba have combined for more goals. And I think that's kind of the exciting side for Tottenham Hotspur. It's getting Kane back into form. That has got to be a big part of Conte's coaching, of his style, of his focus, if he takes over Spurs, and how he can set them up. I think that's a big thing. It's getting someone like Harry Kane firing, because we all know Harry Kane is a top quality forward. It's just taking him to that next level. Just having a look at the Inter side, and then kind of having a look at those different roles. Obviously, Kane will provide that kind of complete forward role that Lukaku played, and Heung-min Son will provide that kind of last line, Lautaro Martinez type model. Obviously, the big things for Tottenham Hotspur, taken from Conte's Inter Milan team, they will be super aggressive. Obviously, Inter won the league last season. They scored more goals on the counter-attack than anyone else in the division. But it very much is that 3-5-2 structure, and having, ball-playing centre-backs in there, having really aggressive midfielders, but also defensively being very, very, very solid. Inter had the best defensive record in the league. Skriniar was a big part of that at centre-half. Played 2,777 minutes for Inter Milan under Conte last season, and was a key part of their backline. And you could see Conte improving the defenders that he's got in the likes of Eric Dyer, Tanganga, Sanchez, Christian Romero. In terms of Skriniar, in this one game, 5 clearances, 5 interceptions, won 3 out of 3 of his tackles, showing his combative nature. But the build-up of the midfield as well. Brozovic, as we mentioned, that kind of deep-line playmaker. Vidal being the kind of energetic box-to-box ball winner. And then Barella adding a little bit quality in the final third. That is kind of Conte's setup and system. From an average position perspective, you can clearly see the defined lines in the game against Milan here. It was a midfield of Brozovic, who was playing as a regista, Christian Eriksen as a deep line playmaker, and of course, Barella linking as a Mazzala. We can see that. The other interesting side about Conte, which could be quite, a bit of a curveball, is to see what he does with some of the attackers. As we can see here, Ivan Perisic played as a left wing back for Conte. Perisic, as we know, is an attacker, but a player that can really provide in the final third. And when we are looking at Conte and his Tottenham Hotspur team, maybe the likes of Lucas Moura, given his intensity, could be converted to a wing back. He's direct, he's aggressive. Also, someone like Bergwijn could see a similar transition that we saw Victor Moses have, where you're taking an attacker, you're turning him into a wing back, and you're providing that quality in the final third. I think Spurs are really, really set for Antonio Conte, and their team is pretty much built on that. And it is about creating for Kane and Son. It is about getting those wing backs forward. It's finding that perfect Mazzala in midfield that can play the Barella role. Who's going to be Conte's Brozovic at Tottenham? Will it be Højbjerg? I think that's a perfect situation, to be fair. Højbjerg's a wonderful footballer. So I think there's a lot to be expected of Conte's Tottenham. When we look at the wing backs that we mentioned previously, you've also got Gil, who was signed in the summer, who could play as a wing back for Conte, very much a natural left-sided attacker, left-footed, could be, evolved into that position. When we're looking at the likes of Tanganga, can simply come in and play in the back three. Same with Ben Davies, can play in the back three comfortably. You've got a lot of options in midfield. Skip could provide that ball-winning option. Harry Winks in there, if he's still, can provide some quality as that regista could drop in there. We might see the return of Matt Doherty, maybe, under Conte. From in terms of the forward line position, having the likes of Son, Kane, Bergwijn, Moura to throw up as forwards. Giovanni Lo Celso could even do a nice job, either maybe playing off a forward or so forth. I think the squad is there for Tottenham that really suits Antonio Conte's style, system and setup. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. Also, get into the comments below. Where will Spurs finish in the Premier League this season? This video has been brought to you in partnership with SofaScore. Go give their app a download right now. But anyway, we'll see you next time.